So, y'all, today I come on here with something difficult to talk about, and it's my child with special needs. So, today he had an extremely rough day. This typically happens when he's extremely exhausted and or hadn't eaten. Now, you don't want to see him if there's a combination of the two. I'm talking Tasmanian. Not quite that bad. I'm exaggerating. But typically, first let me introduce y'all to him because I post videos and things like that of him. And I had another channel just about the life and special needs. But I see so many people that do that, and I just really couldn't give to that, especially with my career and trying to manage that end of, instructing and skin physiology and things like that. So I just didn't want to really give to that because I'm already giving in other areas. And then just trying to even build a platform in general, overall, trying to get followers and stuff is tough. So I sometimes post about it and it's all on one page. And so I'm trying to section it off. But to introduce you all to my angel, um, my son is BB. That's his nickname. We've called him that since birth. Um, and he's fun. He loves soccer. He loves baseball. He's extremely intelligent, extremely intelligent. And when people talk to him, they know how intelligent like he is. They know to an extent, all right? Because like he's not going to hold a conversation for a very long time. He'll change the subject. Um, Very handsome boy, very loving and affectionate, as a lot of kids with special needs are. Now, I've always allowed Robert to kind of feel like he's like a normal child, right? I normalize everything for him. Always explain things to him. So I have a very, very specific teaching style, and I have a very, very specific parenting style when it comes to my kids. And some of those two things tie together. I don't believe that anybody can give you your identity. I don't believe that anybody can um, or has a right, let me say that, because sometimes we can take on the identity or think this is our identity and now it becomes your identity. So let me rephrase that and say that I don't believe that anyone has the right to give you your identity. Just like they don't have a right to tell you what to answer to, right? And the same goes for our kids. Because I think like as parents, we have a sense to tell them what their place is. Instead of just teaching the morals and values and demonstrating that and modeling that and letting them see that and correcting them when something is different or when we notice their curiosity, just giving them a little whisper in the ear, like, oh, isn't that nice? Or, oh, isn't that cool? Instead of downplaying it or ignoring it or letting them think maybe it's something bad, because if we don't catch them in that teaching moment, because it is a teaching moment when their curiosity hits, then someone else will fill that void. So I think as a parent, it's our job to model and demonstrate and kind of guide, right? And kind of feed into what they already have, personality wise, and things like that. Work with what you got kind of situation. And when it comes down to my son, I've always took the interest, the interests that he has. Whatever interest he has in anything, it becomes my interest, right? So I want to be able to talk to him, to communicate. It can be hard as a parent because we have a lot going on. We're trying to manage a lot. And then we have other kids a lot of times, and you don't want them to feel neglected, and that's for another day. Yeah, that's for another day. But so for Robert, I've always just kind of allowed my son to um, determine his own personality type. I never shamed anything whenever he liked something that I thought was like, oh, you sure you want to like that? Or, I just like, oh, cool, and let them come to terms with whatever it is they are feeling and believing, right? Or thinking. But not shunning anything, but kind of like, if there's something wrong, then I definitely want to catch them in that teaching moment of curiosity and be like, oh, that's not good that he hit her, right? Kind of a situation. So, all that to say, he didn't really know he was special needs. Like he didn't even know what that meant. It was more so He knew he was in therapy. He knew he was in speech therapy. He knew he had occupational therapy. Um, he knew sometimes he has a hard time and things of that nature. Now, let's fast forward. He's now 11 years old. Okay. Now, he um, first started receiving services when he was 2 years old. Um, you all could ask questions later if you want to. But he started receiving services when he was 2. He started school when he was 3, literally 2 months after he turned 3. So I allow him to go to a public school where he would be in like a blended class and, even with kids that are older. So I personally really believe that fusion was extremely beneficial in the early stages, right? And it also gave him some personality, and to see other people like him, people more extreme, people less extreme. Some people, nothing out of the ordinary. However, I've never said to you, oh, you're special needs, or gotten frustrated and allow him to see my frustration. So there's times where I've dropped my son off for a program and asked them before I drop them off for a program, do you deal with kids with special needs? Because my son has, and things like that. And, and then if they tell me yeah, or no problem, we're all kids or whatever, then I'm like, okay. And there's times where I've had to go pick them up, right after dropping them off. And it's just one time in particular I will never forget, because it was my weak moment. And I said to myself, be strong. You can't let your son see you get beside yourself. Because then he'll be like, what's wrong, mommy? And I don't ever want him to think that he's what's wrong, because he's not, It's about managing our own emotions as well. So when your child's special needs, you become special needs. And even though there's a lot of parents that might be like, what? Yes, we do. We become special needs too, because now we have special needs. Our circles change. There are certain circumstances where you have to pull out. This one particular incident, I said, I'm not going to say anything because I asked them before I dropped them off. And then they're taking this little incident where he's tossing toys up in the air because they're like, oh, we told all the kids to move stations and he just had a problem with wanting to move stations and he got upset. Well, what? Okay, obviously y'all don't know how to deal with a child with special needs, okay? You don't just tell them not get up, put the toys down, let's go. And then even though they took him into the hall and he was calm, they still insisted that I come and get him because they didn't want to bother. So I'm not going to say anything. I went in to go get my child and I was angry. I was literally livid because I'm like, I literally asked y'all, but now and drove 30 minutes outside the city to another city. And now you're calling me to come back all because you all truly don't deal with any other children outside the ordinary, okay? And so, and let me just say this, my child isn't ordinary. He's an extraordinary, okay? And so I go to get him. He's like, hey, mommy, he's happy to see his mommy. And I was like, let's go. Come on, BB, let's go. And then the lady walks up to me. She's like, hey, I just put my hand up because, woman, it's already taken quite a bit for me to walk in here, not say anything, okay? And I'm ready to go. So I'm just like, and she's like, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And this is a place my child has frequented. Let me just put that out there too, okay? And so they automatically knew who I was. And I said, I asked you all before I left him. I would have never left him. I would have taken him with me. I would have found somewhere else, whatever. And they're like, well, we don't want you. I said, no. I said, obviously, he's not accepted here. Don't want to come back, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This was a summer program somewhere. That's all I'm saying. Um, and I went down to the car. We gotta put my baby in. Kisses. Held it together, excuse me, like we do for our kids. And I just broke down. I just broke down. Because it was a reality check of this is just the beginning of what's yet to come. I think my son was maybe 3 at the time. And maybe 4, somewhere around there. But it just broke down right there in the parking lot. And it was just like, this is just the beginning. But then, fast forward,